I know that this channel in particular is in its infancy, but something that we've spoken about on other channels before is the idea of sexy and good-looking video game characters and kind of like people getting mad at that. Is it just ugly people being upset? Is there actually a conversation worth having? We've had these types of conversations before, but I found this video on my recommended page over here. Do girls care about sexy game characters? I would love to hear the opinion of a woman on this topic because, of course, I've been a guy yapping about this thing this entire time. Let's get into it.
Character design in games has always been kind of a delicate subject, but in recent years, I find that more and more conversations surrounding this topic are becoming increasingly more volatile.
I feel like it really started coming about during Stellar Blade. When Stellar Blade first dropped, dude, the backlash on that one was nuts. And I still do say, when it comes to like the Stellar Blade in particular, the controversy around that, I think it's more so just ugly people being mad at the world that there is attractiveness and beauty in modern art.
One of the biggest debates in the community has always been around female characters in revealing or sexy outfits.
Hang on, 9, what was that?
Always been around female characters in
9 Insane Orange is a gaming's most over-sexualized female characters. I forgot about Bayonetta. I'm not familiar with the other ones in the thumbnail here, though.
revealing or sexy outfits. Again, this isn't a conversation that started yesterday, but since I opened this channel, and because we mostly focus on game aesthetics, I've often been asked—
Oh, it's a channel about game aesthetics? I've never heard of this channel before. If that's actually something that I would be really interested in watching, so maybe we'll have to take a look at some more videos down the road.
what my take on this is, or do I actually care if a female character is wearing skimpy clothing? Do girls in general not like games where the characters are wearing revealing outfits? Before we get started, hi, my name is Angelika, and
I feel like it's a little bit of a mix. You have all of the girls over here who are like, hell yes, bring on the beauty. And you also have a bunch of girls saying this is disrespectful to women. And you have a lot of ugly people, again, being upset at anything more attractive than them. There's a collective and of different opinions when it comes to this.
this is going to be kind of a shorter midweek video. I was reminded about this whole conversation because of the character reveal for Emma Frost and all the controversy surrounding that on Twitter. So
Yup, and Marvel Rivals, everybody talking about a Gooner game all the time. Dude, you know what's funny? Is when it comes to video games and things like this, I've spoken about this before and spoken about why I love Marvel Rivals so much, is there has been such a big attack over like the last... and it's gone like crazy over the last 5-ish years, where anything that like sort of embraces beauty, I'm kind of like, yeah, let's go.
I wanted to get my thoughts out there before I forget about it again. Just on Emma Frost, there's a bunch of different takes out there. Some people are saying that even though she's meant to be a more risque character, the game shows her in outfits that are too revealing and it doesn't fit her character. Other people just don't like her haircut. Like, there is a whole world of discussion here.
What I'm mostly on is, does it look like the character in the comics? If you're porting some of those over into like Marvel Rivals, I think it'd be best if you were to bring the character how it's supposed to be. And if you want to make some unique characters, dress them up however you want. But I would like it to be a 1-for-1.
I'm not a huge Marvel fan myself, so I wouldn't really know, which is why you guys can fill me in on your thoughts about that particular character reveal. But we're going to focus on this strictly from the standpoint of revealing clothing. There are many ways to approach this topic, and I think that the best thing to do here is to talk about it from a place of balance. First thing, yeah, I do think there are probably people that are genuinely bothered about that sort of thing, and not just women. I think that there are definitely men that don't like those kind of...
No. I don't think I know any dude that is bothered. Like, there's one thing to go like, okay, yeah, maybe that's a little bit too much, but there's no guy under the planet that's like bothered by it. And that's like, dude, if a guy starts telling you that, like, I can't believe how disrespectful this is to women, you just, oh, it's the same vibe as all those guys on TikTok right now dancing a man child, where it's like, hey, if you have a problem with the song, then it's not for you. I'm like, oh my god, you little weasel, okay.
The games, or they wouldn't play them. However, I also think that there's a lot of fake outrage out there, particularly in places like Twitter, something to gauge likes and a lot of attention, blowing things
out. Yeah, clip farming is definitely a thing nowadays. Rage bait's definitely a thing. Now that people, especially because people can make money too.
Proportion when it's really not that deep. The reason for that is because it's kind of in our nature to engage with something negative over something positive. It's kind of like the psychology behind reviews or ratings, and now I know this from my days of working in online customer support, but I found that more often than not, people will leave a negative review as opposed to a positive review.
Oh yeah, if you like something, you kind of just enjoy it and go about your day. But if you're negative, everybody loves to hear about it. Misery loves company. It's one of the most true sayings under the planet.
That's not to say that people don't leave good reviews when they've had a great experience with a customer service rep, but just more often I've seen it happen that people will not go out of their way to give praise, but they will if they want to give a complaint.
Oh, always, always. It's just human nature, dude. I'm one of those who doesn't leave reviews either way. If I enjoyed it, great. If I didn't, whatever. I'm gonna move on with my day.
And that is why I think with this particular discussion, more often than not, you might see a lot of people up in arms about this sort of thing, and I think that a lot of others might follow suit because these sort of posts might get a lot of likes on Twitter. It's a safe opinion to have if so many people seem to agree with it, even if it's not one that you necessarily formed yourself.
Yeah, there's a big problem with NPCs of the world, man. My favorite streamer said this, so I'm gonna adopt this opinion now. My favorite celebrity said this, so that's my opinion now.
I just want to say this from my point of view, and I know that a lot of other women will say the same. No, we do not care about revealing clothing in video games.
Yeah, I would imagine that most don't. I would imagine that, like, most people, even if you don't want to play it, you would just, like, again, go about your day. That's what most normal people do.
Nor do we find it offensive. In fact, I think that games with such characters can often have a special appeal for a female audience, which I will explore in this video.
Yeah, that's the one where I'm a little bit confused about, and that's why I wanted to hear a woman's perspective on it, because the only one that I'm confused about is, like, how you would feel empowered by looking at something like Melina right there, you know? Like, I don't know. Looking at another girl in clothing like that, how does that make you feel, like, empowered?
But going back to balance for a second, look at one of the most controversial games with revealing outfits, Mortal Kombat, particularly Mortal Kombat 9. There's a special focus on certain physical aspects of the female characters in this game. The outfits are what they are, they do really leave very little to the imagination. But I have talked about this before. We're looking at a game where you can break all of your opponent's bones, take out their spine, and eat their brain. Are revealing outfits really the biggest concern here?
That's what I agree with, because a lot of people are talking about, like, well, kids play these games, right? It's like, should kids be playing Mortal Kombat in general? I think that one's more of a parental issue, to be honest.
It's meant to be over the top, comically so, which I think they've definitely achieved.
And that's something that I do like about these types of things. It's something that's meant to be like an over-exaggerated version of actual humans when you're playing a game with, like, superheroes, superpowers, things like that. I want the over-exaggerated attractiveness as well. Like, I want to play, if I'm playing a big character, I want to play as this, like, giant muscular guy as well, and I want to play with the most beautiful woman, you know what I mean?
This is very on brand for Mortal Kombat. This is a game that had the US Senate hold hearings around game violence, and eventually this led to the creation of the ESRB rating system.
Two of the most violent new video games. First, we have Mortal Kombat, which is
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable how, like, games like this have had the world in a chokehold for a long
a
time.
martial arts contest involving digitized characters. We're going to show two versions of the game. In the first segment, which is Sega's version, blood splatters from the contestants' heads. When a player wins, the so-called death sequence begins. The game narrator instructs the player to finish, and I quote, finish his opponent. The player may then choose a method of murder, ranging from ripping a heart out.
And then they tried to put this on the entire public where it's like, oh, this is why kids are becoming the way they are. Crazy.
To pulling off the head of the opponent with spinal cord attached.
The outfits are pretty in line with the iconic look of the characters, and with that comes a lot of cosplay potential. I would say that the girls from Mortal Kombat are probably some of the most popular characters for cosplay. And
I would imagine so. And here's the thing. We're not going to get into this entire conversation unless we continue talking about the cosplay, but this is where the things become an issue, because now you have guys obsessing over these characters already. They're going to obsess over these girls, and then you create a culture of men that isn't exactly ideal.
The reason for that is because I think it's a generally easy thing to put together for cosplay. In my opinion, if all women were extremely against such character design, they wouldn't cosplay these characters. There wouldn't be any appeal. But
I could, you know what though? I could imagine there's a lot of girls that are, like, disgusted with how these characters are built in video games, how men fawn over them, and then they just take advantage of that. Because dude, I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you the truth about this here. there are people who are genuinely like they're fascinated and their hobby is to dress up and take a look at these characters. But the vast majority of the time, these cosplayers are just trying to take advantage of you. They just want your cash. They want the Sims. They want a platform for themselves.
In this case,
they could very well be disgusted by the character design, yet they're taking advantage of it.
I'm not just talking about professional cosplayers. I'm talking about girls who don't do any sort of content creation, but they will buy these outfits for themselves for Halloween parties and all sorts of other fancy dress opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, what's the purpose of Halloween, right?
I've seen this on a website like Shein, where people have purchased these outfits and left reviews. Something like, loved the outfit, wore it to a Halloween party, etc. I've even cosplayed this myself for a photo shoot. You'll often hear people say stuff like, women do this for male attention. And I mean, sure, if you are a professional cosplayer, obviously you're gonna want attention and appreciation for your work. That's the reason that you post it online.
The way that you can tell, though, is the way that where's my mouse? Sorry about that guy. Did my mouse just die? Oh, never mind. The way that this one's dressed, right? This is obviously for the passion of the game. Look at the costume I made. I'm trying to embrace this character. And then you have something like this over here. You have something like this over here. There is a major difference, and it's very easy to tell. Like, this one's not just in love with the character, right? Let's be honest.
The whole point. But people really underestimate the element of buying an outfit like that for yourself, literally just to dress up and feel good about yourself, especially if it's a franchise or a character that you're really a fan of. There's something euphoric about looking in the mirror and seeing yourself in one of their iconic looks. And you know what it is? It's just a bit of fun. I know a major argument here is around RPGs, where they do this thing that male characters will have all this cool armor that really protects them, and then the female variant will be kind of like a swimsuit. And sure,
yeah, but the vast majority of people who play games are men, so obviously they're gonna appeal to this. This is what the vast majority of men want. If they're playing as a female character, they want something like this. Which, to be fair, there's also, like, I'm gonna be honest, like, I probably represent most guys when I say this. If you're playing as a male character, you want, like, the really insanely cool male armor. If you're playing with a female character, you either want something like this, where it's, like, nothing in your character looks good, or you can also have the female character in all of that same kind of armor, and it's still just as cool.
I can understand that. For example, in World of Warcraft, there are several pieces like that, but at the same time, your female character can also look like this. So there are options.
Yeah, and guys will be happy with it either way.
Even given the options, very often I've seen girls that will do transmogs with those other pieces, just because it's fun. I was asked specifically.
Just because it's fun, eh? Yeah, some maybe. Some.
To give my opinion on the character from Stellar Blade, and I'll be honest, the reason that I wouldn't play Stellar Blade isn't anything to do with the outfits that the character wears.
Now, I still haven't played Stellar Blade. I probably won't play Stellar Blade, but I actually hear that the game is functionally very good. It just has a good-looking protagonist.
But it's more so the game itself. Like, I'm not really a fan of JRPGs, and I know that this is a game that was made in Korea, but this particular art style is something that doesn't appeal to me. Like, I was never, a Final Fantasy kind of girl, and this is...
I think the art style for both Final Fantasy here, and I'm guessing this is Stellar Blade, I'm sorry. I think both of them look very, very good. I'm a big fan of art in general, guys.
This is what it sort of reminds me of with the face. I do make an exception for Souls games, though. But this personally doesn't appeal to me. That and that kind of hyper-futuristic sci-fi genre, I just don't really play those kind of games.
Yeah, that's fair. You don't have to justify it as much like you don't like Stellar Blade. Totally cool.
All the time. I have a few exceptions, but I know that there's plenty of girls that would play it. For example, I'm not a fan of anime, but loads of other girls are. And there's like these anime figurines that have very detailed assets.
Yeah, that's it. Anime, just like video games for the most part, are built for the male gaze. Most anime fans are probably men.
The female characters, someone like Boa Hancock from One Piece, I believe, I've seen girls have this as part of their streaming setup, or just in general, they buy it for their room. Also,
yeah, but how many people, like, come on, man, how many people are just playing into that? They cosplay every once in a while to get all the attention, right? And then these dudes, man. You know what my favorite part about it is how easy it is. You dress up with this anime character. Sorry, I'm not familiar with One Piece. I'll use Misa for an example from Death Note, right? Misa's a good-looking character. If you dress up as Misa, you kind of get, like, that sexy goth aesthetic that so many dudes like. And my favorite thing about it is you have these girls that stream and dress up like her. And sure, okay, some of them like Death Note. Yes, but the vast majority of them know that they can take advantage of you. And then you have all of these guys who are like, oh my god, you look so good. I also love this character because this, and that. I love Death Note. And then they talk to these girls and donate to all of these girls, really believing that they give two fucks about what you think about the anime, and they probably haven't even watched the show, dude. It's crazy to me.
It's a very popular cosplay character. And you can't talk about this without mentioning Tomb Raider. But again, I've never had a problem with this. She is a physically fit character, usually in very hot countries, jumping around, climbing stuff. I don't really see it as oppressive or objectifying. If anything, it's kind of like gym inspiration. I asked my mom about this topic and I showed her.
Dude, honestly, that's how you should look at it. I love that. You look at a character, you go, dude, I want to be built like that. Dude, I find that I have that all of the time. I'm a major, depending if you're just brand new to this channel, if you're coming from other channels, but if you don't know, I'm a major fan of MMA. Been involved in martial arts my whole life. Long story short, life got in the way. I gained weight. There are times where I look at so many fighters and I'm like, dude, I would love to be built like that. And I'm trying, man. I've been dying to be working out. Like, that's the way to look at things. You don't look at it and go, ugh, you know?
Some of the more controversial characters, and she said exactly the same thing that I'm saying right now. Like, it's a game, they're fictional characters. There might be more of a fitness inspiration, cosplay inspiration. It's more of a good thing. Very often you'll see this sort of thing criticized for appealing to the male fantasy. Alright, but there's also plenty of stuff that appeals to the female fantasy in media.
Yeah. If you're trying to appeal to one, whatever, like, watch it or don't watch it, you know? I don't go like, oh my god, I'm pretty sure this one's a Notebook, like, oh my god, the Notebook, that's just satisfying the female gaze. Like, I don't care, I'm just not going to watch it.
Are we meant to just make stuff that doesn't appeal to anybody? Because they've tried that, and surprise, surprise, it appealed to nobody. Here's my take. Adults looking at other adults is completely fine. As long as they are adults and fictional and they fit in the world that they're in and it makes sense that they look the way that they do, I don't really have a problem with it. It would be a different story if they took a person from real life and disrespected them somehow and...
Yes, absolutely, I agree with that. I completely agree to that. But, like, it's one thing if there's a girl, like a real girl that you're putting in Mortal Kombat, for example, here, dressed like this, and they go, yes, I would like to be dressed like that. But I agree with that point wholeheartedly.
Maybe over-sexualize them for the purpose of making them more appealing. But when it's fiction and it's clearly fun and appealing for more than just men, I really don't see the harm. One thing that I do have a very hard stance on is anything to do with children, however.
Yeah, you should have a hard stance on that. And it's ridiculous to the point where, like, depending if you're watching this video today, I'm also releasing a video on the Clenema Channel. By the way, if you're new here, check out our other channels. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Link tree at the top of the description. But on Clenema today, we're going to be taking a look at waifus. And there's this guy that was talking about, like, oh, well, we're just attached to all these characters. I'm like, okay, fine, be attached to what you want. But the problem is you're attached to this, like, 8-year-old looking kid when, but the lore says the kid's 2,000 years old. I'm like... Hard drive check, please.
For myself, and I think every other decent person will draw the line. I can't actually think of any games that have done this with children, but I know this is a thing in certain anime.
Yep.
Maybe if there are games out there that are based on this anime, that could potentially be a thing. I don't know. It's nothing that would have ever been on my radar, but I think that this is where the outrage should be directed.
I completely agree with that. Not just outrage. We need to actually, like, I know that's a meme to say hard drive check, but I'm serious. Completely.
It does exist. You know, I always hated these shows like Toddlers and Tiaras where you had the little girls in, like...
What the hell is Toddlers and Tiaras? Oh my god. Oh, I can only imagine what that's about.
Layers and layers of makeup, and they made their faces look so much more grown up, and then their moms would teach them how to do all of these poses, and it clearly appealed to a very specific audience.
One of those shows, dude. Again, take the kids away, man. Get the kids away from those moms, dude. And anybody who's in charge of that show, oh my god, Toddlers and Tiaras. What the hell?
That you don't want. It's gross. They did not let children be children. And a lot of mommy and daddy influencers do this as well, where they dress their kids a certain way or put them in certain situations, which again will appeal to this particular audience. I hate all of that. And
yeah, you should. And it's one thing that's fine. Like, I've had my daughter come on stream before. I've had my daughter, like, sit on my lap during videos. My daughter's not even 2 years old yet. And that's one thing. But it's another thing to put them in like the situations like toddlers and tiaras, you know what I mean? Or like dress up with my kid and like obviously, you know, that's crazy.
I know that this is slightly off topic, but since we're talking about it, I'll just mention it. The internet is not a place for children. I will never show my daughter's face on camera.
I respect that. I completely respect that. I get why people do that. We have social media. My daughter's on there. My daughter is in the occasional video. As much like there's always the potential for somebody to like want to screenshot it, right? But I like if she comes in every once in a while, I don't see that as a big deal.
Puts themselves out
But
there.
like obviously there's a big deal if someone's like actively like looking out for kids in YouTube videos and stuff, right? That's beyond like I can't even say how I feel about that online, you know?
The way that I do, I know all of the baggage that comes with it. There's some really messed up people online that can say some really horrible, unthinkable things, but I can handle that. I don't care about all of it. Like, the difference is that I can take it, and I, as an adult, made the conscious decision to make content online. My daughter, however, did not. And when she's old enough to make the informed and conscious decision about whether or not she wants to be online, it'll be absolutely her decision.
I love that. I think that's great. I still think that you should steer against it. I know that they can make their own decisions, but for as long as possible, I think you should steer them against it because like it was even shocking to me as somebody who has like a really good sense of humor, and I still do laugh at it, but there's been times where it's like I've gotten enough hate where I'm like, wow, you know what, that actually pissed me off, and like I would have to like think about it. I'm like, okay, these are just people online, get over it, you know? It was shocking how much there actually is.
But yeah, to summarize, myself and many other women do not have any problem with sexy game characters. Everybody likes looking at people that look good. People like to dress up as people that look good. It's for fun, and at the end of the day...
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
And
that's what you bubble it down to, eh? This is what we talk about all the time on the gaming channels. The Fortnite channel, if you're interested, we have a whole channel dedicated to that as well. At the end of the day, it's a video game and it's not a big deal. I preach that all the time, and then people call me a coward for that.
That's that for today's video. If you enjoyed, please be sure
I thought it was well said, man. I didn't know that there was a whole channel about like aesthetic design for gaming and stuff, so perhaps we'll take a look at another video. But I was interested in hearing a woman's opinion on this topic because, again, I've yapped about it as a man for a long time, and I thought it was very well said. I enjoyed the video. Hopefully you guys did too. If you guys want to talk a little bit more about gaming, why don't you check out this video on screen right here. YouTube thinks that you'll like this video the best. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Take care, everybody.